Hey guys, this is Anastasia Autumnfire, and this is, I have no idea what week it's for, but we're still working on that YouTube challenge deal. So, let's go. This subject is, do you believe in places of power and ley lines and things along that measure? Absolutely. I totally agree and believe in that. Places of power, both positive and negative, and also neutral. I think there are places, it kind of goes along different ways. There are places that are just innately filled with power. I believe in portals. I believe in ley lines. I believe in sacred places that are sacred for very specific reasons. In the video for my favorite places, I spoke of Minnehaha Falls. You go to that place and you feel the power. It is sacred to it's sacred to the natives, and the reason for that is in the energy there. It is just thick with it. And I think it's beautiful that it's been made into a park and it is at least somewhat protected. And it's wonderful to go there with my daughter because, you know, they've got a playground. I mean, it's a park. You can walk, you can run. It's great for people that aren't looking for this spiritual connection. They still love it there. And I think that's because it has this energy. And it's just there. And it's inviting and it's comforting in a way. But at the same time, when you really delve into it, it is... I don't think it's specifically positive. You could easily manipulate it for whatever reason. But it's also a very protected space, I feel. And I get nervous thinking about negatively manipulating anything. It's just not my bag. But the reason I specify that is I think there are places of negative energy. And they are places of negative energy power. Normally when I've come across those areas, it's where things of true and utter tragedy have taken place. Or if a place is filled with real dark, I hate to use dark as a word, but lack of a better word, places that are filled, like museums and such, with items that have been through horrific ordeals. When I was younger, I went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And it was negative, not in a threatening way, but in a completely and utterly sad way. I think that's when I never really saw myself as empathic in any way, shape, or form. Recently, I say with the birth of my daughter, that has changed immensely. Not sure why. It just seems like that transition from maidenhood to motherhood opened me up in ways that I didn't think existed. And even as I'm saying that, I'm starting to tear up and get emotional. So I definitely, I don't think I'm this huge empath. I don't look at someone and know what they're feeling. Or I don't think I take on other people's, I don't necessarily know how that all works, how it works within me. I just know since having my daughter, there's a lot of things that hit me that never used to hit me. But in looking back, when I was thinking about this video and what I wanted to talk about, in looking back to my trip to the Holocaust Museum when I was like 15 or something, I remember being completely and utterly uncomfortable that entire time. It was almost like none of us should have been there. Not threatening, just there were certain areas that you would go and you would see things and it was like, no one is meant to see this. This is something that, whatever, perhaps there are spirits still attached, perhaps, because I think when you talk places of power, yes, you can look at it as a place where there is innately power just in and of itself. And I believe in that. I think that's there. I believe there are portals. I believe there are sacred lands. Stonehenge, I don't think that has ley lines going through it, and I think there's a reason for that. I think people felt the power that was there and knew this needed to be a sacred place. And I think when we look at places where monuments are erected or they're known as sacred places, there are very valid reasons for that. And that is because the earth has power, nature has power, and there are certain areas where that power is heightened for whatever reason. But with that said, I think there are also places where power can be collected, power can grow. If there's a lot of positivity in a certain area, over and over and over, I don't see why that positive energy wouldn't remain, why it wouldn't kind of rub off in a way, and that place could become a place of power for that positivity that has emerged over the years or been left there over the years. I don't know necessarily that we notice those places that much, because we just go someplace and it's like, hey, I feel really good. Well, there are places that I go into and for whatever reason I can be in a crappy ass mood before, and I walk in and all of a sudden I feel cleansed, I feel rejuvenated, I feel happy. And I think it very well could be because, I mean, yes, perhaps someone is cleansing. I know my witchy shops that I go into. I just did a video on one of my favorites. I know I go in there and there's a reason it feels good, because the woman who owns it makes it a positive place. But I think there are places out in nature where you just kind of stumble across an area and you just have this warmth, you have this positive flow, and it could very well be a place of power. But I think when you just instantly can go from feeling like crap to feeling happy, maybe it's that a good amount of positivity has happened there or been placed there, and you're feeling that effect. But I think we notice it far more on the places that have negative energy. And those places I don't think are naturally negative, because I don't think anything in nature is naturally positive or negative. It just is. It's just power. It's just energy. And what happens on that land is what shapes it. And I think it does delve into the spirit realm. I do believe in ghosts. I do believe in spirits. And I think, like in the Holocaust Museum, when you have something like a train car that was used for something as horrific as the Holocaust, gathering people to bring them to their deaths, separating families, that negativity is going to seep into that train car, and it's going to be there, and it can easily become a place of power for that sadness, for that fear. And I think negative energy will feed upon that, and it will grow, and it could easily become a place of power for that negative energy. Where I think the land can be and is a place of power, just neutral and as is. When we go into places of extreme positive energy or places of extreme negative energy, I think that's more man-made, so to speak. And sadly, I think when man interferes with nature or life in terrible, terrible ways, we easily create places of power for the negative. And I'm sorry I didn't see this video kind of going down this road, but that's how it's unfolding. I hope that makes sense. I'm sure to some people, the idea of a negative energy, place of power, or whatever, doesn't make sense. It doesn't resonate with many people, I'm sure. But for me, it does. Whether it is man-made or it is natural, it's still a place where power exists. It's still a place where a massive amount of energy is. And usually, I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on that negative energy kick. Usually when we find a place of power that is just seeped in negativity, we call that place evil. Or mainstream people call it evil. But I think if you look at it, it's not. It's just a place. It's just an object. But what we as humans have done to that place or that object has given it the energy or power that it is buzzing with. So I guess I leave it to you. Do I believe in places of power? Absolutely. But the next time you go to a place and you feel energy around you, you feel it buzzing, it's electric, what energy do you leave behind there? Maybe next time you go to a place and you can feel, you just stand there and you know there is something more. There is something beneath that earth. There is something in the trees. There is something all around you. It is tangible. You can feel it. You can hear it. You can sense it. You know it's there. It's unseen, but it is there. I challenge you and myself, do something while you are there, in that energy, in that moment, to just release a little bit of positivity into this world. Leave your mark on that space and make it a positive mark. Because I think with that, the place of power is going to grow. And it will be a place of light. Not to sound like a fluffy bunny, not to sound like, you know, yay me, but I think the world needs that. We look at things going on in our world, especially if you look at what's going on in Dakota. Dear God. You see what's going on with our places of power. Something needs to be done to send out some positivity to protect those places and all places. So I don't see anything wrong with wanting a little bit of light to shine through. And I don't think that makes me a fluffy bunny. Because I think if you're someone who's going to take a stand to save or preserve or to send out that positivity, it's a pretty damn strong act. And that is not something a fluffy bunny would do. I don't know. I'm getting there. I'm getting a little amped. But yeah, I guess long story short, yes, I definitely believe in places of power, and I think ley lines definitely exist. Blessed be.